infrastructure.
It leads that.
Exactly.
And then this is
as the share.
Cool.
Yeah, so in the share.
This means nothing's been shared.
Exactly.
Large scale installations of
And then you can choose which one you want. Your entire
just
screen,
short
window,
summaries.
tab.
Two first
Are
years
you doing a
of
presentation or are you doing? Okay, so if you're doing a presentation, you want to do entire screen, okay? Because if you do the window,
no options were.
and then you just share this window,
But then
once you go full
started,
screen,
and actually because of
the
this
people
competition
on
in this
then
basket,
will only
PV
see
plus
the
and onshore,
the
wind offshore used to
and
be
they won't
much
see
way cheaper than
Okay, so entire screen.
and it was taking all the capacity actually, the budgets from these solutions until it started to change recently because photovoltaics demonstrated the ability to really go down with the prices. And even though these reference prices, maximum prices that the producer is pitching for a tender in the tender has a different maximum for wind and different for photovoltaics, higher for photovoltaics. Actually, PV investors
I just
under the wind price.
I put some slides together to simplify it a little bit.
So actually,
so it doesn't get
in
overcomplicated.
2020, in last December auction,
A little bit about us.
approximately 20% of the capacity of this basket was taken
Two flagship
by
apps.
the PV investors.
CBD.
And our estimate for
I'll get
this
rid of this
June
one.
auction
Storyteller.
from a few weeks ago is that
Folio
it's going to be
optimizer,
even more.
just
We estimate that
results.
this approximately
And this is
65%
what the whole thing is about, I think.
to be wind, but all the rest.
So this is we're going from here to there.
Should be photovoltaics.
And
And then, of course, the question is because these wind projects that are pitching here are still suffering this 10H regulation. Maybe short explanation. This distance regulation that I mentioned was introduced in 2013, and it means that the turbine cannot be actually permitted in the area of housing buildings closer than 10 times the height of the turbine, including rotor, which means that you practically cannot build anything closer than 2 kilometers away from any building. And in Poland is a kind of dense country, so it practically means no development under this rule. And this is why the auctions here, all these 4 gigawatts are projects that have been developed before the end of or the beginning of 2016. This is why they are dealing with these old types of turbines, not stronger than 3 megawatts per turbine. And abandoning this 10H rule is the prerequisite for this industry to grow again. And this is actually also what is very much expected right now. Even politically, we see a very good development. There is a project already waiting in the parliament, prepared by the governing coalition. So with a quite high likelihood of big push forward. And it's quite likely that at the end of this year, this is something that is going to be better. But regardless of the auction model, the auctions seem to not be that important in the nearest future and in the more distant future even less. Because this technology is becoming cheap enough to fly without the gate. And the development that is very well seen in Europe, in the EMEA region, you can see here the so-called corporate PPAs, corporate private power purchase agreements that are replacing the public PPAs in many countries. This has various reasons. On one hand, big players on the market close the public support for the further development of the portfolio of renewables, like in UK or in Germany and many other countries. On the other hand, there is fast increasing demand for green energy, and there are large consumers, large brands, global brands that change rapidly their CSR policies, and they just want to demonstrate that they cover their own consumption only by green sources, regardless where these sources are. Which means that Google is interested in having a facility that is producing green energy even in Poland or another distant location, because this is like a balancing issue, not really the direct line that has to be connected to the consumer. And this is the dynamics of the shows how fast it is growing, and of course majority of these PPAs is wind, and PV is rising. In the EMEA region, this is the breakdown of industries that are interested in the issue. Of course, heavy consumers, like heavy industries, are like the candidate number one, but not only. You will see also consumer goods producers and brands, because of the CSR issue that seems to be more and more important, becoming or moving from a best practice to sort of minimum standard. It's happening. In Poland, we have 11 PPAs closed until now. Not much, just few hundred megawatts of installed capacity. But you can see the brands, the firms, the consumers that went for that. This is Mercedes, this is Asahi, the beer producer, this is Orange, the telecom, and Poland also the telecom. So on one hand, it is commercial, because you're by contracting a wind farm with the same level of price, 15 years, 10 years, 200,000 zlotys per megawatt hour. It's actually cheaper than the spot market price. And it is green, so this combination of these two factors is really creating the market. And I would like to share with you at the end of my presentation a slide in which we compare the approach to forecasting of what can happen with wind sector onshore and offshore. I didn't speak much about offshore, but offshore is developing quite fast, even though we have no single turbine yet installed on the Polish Baltic Sea, but actually 3 companies, large companies, are on their way, and it's very likely that 6 gigawatt will be installed really by the end of this decade. So there is like a larger consensus on that. But there is a lesser consensus on how the onshore wind sector is going to be developed in the future. And here we can see on the left, this is the Polish government forecast, actually published 3 months ago. Very conservative, still protecting a large share of coal-fired generation by the end of this next decade, by the end of this decade and by the end of 2040. And here we can see the independent experts' opinions, McKinsey report, Instrative report, the Polish agency. And there are often differences between public and private experts, but in this very case, I tend to believe that the private ones are much more closer to the reality, to the more realistic scenario of the development. Poland cannot have 30% share of coal-fired power generation by the year 2040. It's not possible because of this financial situation that I described before. Also, you can see here that the official forecast assumes drop in the onshore portfolio. We actually are going to have 10.5 within 2-3 years, because 6.5 are already operating in Poland, and 4+ are under construction as a result of the Rust auction. So this is actually a drop in the portfolio assumed in the official papers, which is living space for coal, and also for a nuclear generation scenario that is also unfortunately neither much realistic. So this McKinsey and Instrative reports and estimations seem to be much more realistic. And this goes that way. It means a tremendous potential for investment in the wind energy sector, both onshore and offshore. The offshore 6 gigawatt is under construction, but the capacity of the Polish Baltic Sea, which is a fantastic kind of a sea area to develop power because of the stability of wind, high speed of wind, and shallow water. As some say that it's much more favorable than the North Sea.
More than 20 gigawatts to construct on that.
Even some say McKinsey is supporting more than 35, for instance, also. So and a capacity of up to 36, 37 gigawatt being installed onshore. It's quite likely that it's feasible as well. So if you look at this potential, Polish wind conditions onshore, the physical conditions in Poland are also very favorable comparing with the rest of Europe, are fair enough to go for this industry. And then there is another interesting factor that is this benchmark, which is relatively high energy production costs that will be with us for at least 15, 20 years because of the high share of coal. And this means that the investors in the wind business may not or will not have to cope with the very rapid drop in prices that will be the case in countries where the mixed generation is much more modern and renewable, let's say. Yeah. So this is this was the end of my short intro. We just published this report
You on your call yet? Are you on your call yet?
Hello. Good morning, John. Hello, John. I see you're on mute there. This is Chris Eichhorn from Warsaw. I just saw your face appear, so I thought I would say hi.
There, I think I'm unmuted. Hello, Chris. Hello, Chris.
Hello, John. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Can you hear me?
This is Chris Eichhorn, and I'm your fellow roundtable participant and the other presenter.
Hi, Chris.
A pleasure to meet you. Indeed.
Nice to meet you.
I'm actually out in the hallway in one of these in this shopping mall where we're set up. So apologies for the little disturbance here. I just wanted to coordinate with you, if that's okay.
Sure.
Did you would you like to present first, or shall I? It doesn't matter to me.
I thought Alexis was the first one to present. Is that not the case? That was my understanding.
I just spoke to Tom here, and he was mentioning because it's getting a little bit later here, and some of the people will have to leave the event, that it would be a little bit preferred if I would go first, if that's okay with you.
That certainly is fine with me.
Okay. Did I see also that you'll be presenting a few slides? I saw that you were getting your presentation ready there.
Actually, no, I'm learning to operate this hop-in system here.
Okay.
And it keeps popping open, and I don't know how to get rid of it.
Yeah, these technology platforms. So what I'll be doing is just sharing my screen for about 8 to 9 minutes and going through a little bit of a presentation. Then I'll stop sharing, and then you'll be visible, and then you can take over, and then we can have a question and answer session after that. Is that okay?
Can you see me right now?
I can see you perfectly. You and your dog earlier, and all that good stuff. Sure.
Good. Great.
Yeah.
All right. We're on all set.
Fantastic. Actually,
the icon below has a red line through it, but as long as you can see me, we're fine. Good. Let's go.
Right. Okay. Perfect. Let's do it. Okay. So we're on in about 10 minutes, I think.
Do we have an audience at all?
I believe there's Elena has joined, and I believe that we are kicking off in 10 minutes.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm ready. I will be ready in 10 minutes.
Sounds good. Me too. So I'll kick off in 10 minutes and then hand it over to you.
Thank you.
Sounds good, John. Great to be
Look
here.
forward
Thanks.
to it.
Okay, you too. Bye-bye.
And certainly invest in those areas and then receive an offset in terms of deference of capital gains tax, which is a big deal for significant types of development. Another tool, which I call its cousin to Opportunity Zone, certainly I would view this as probably underutilized in my opinion, would be new market tax credits. That program has been around since 2000, part of the enacted by Congress during that time, which basically allows developers to once again invest in areas of distress, areas of poverty, in order to receive a tax credit. A lot of those deals are very, very complicated to implement, and do require assistance of some pretty good legal help. However, that's certainly a tool that's out there. I would argue is very underutilized. The good thing is here at the city, we've looked to partner with organizations that can help walk developers through that process. We found a lot of times it's good to have what we call the personal banker to kind of help walk developers through the process and evaluate if the project is eligible for that particular tool. We've established that point of contact now, so we're on a regular basis communicating with a certain basic community development entity, which is what's needed to do those deals, to help walk developers through that process, to be that personal banker. Another tool we've recently enacted also is the urban redevelopment zone, particularly the West Franklin urban redevelopment zone, which is where Fuse is located now, known as Caramount Health Park. That's a tool that the city has implemented as well to foster investment within our downtown, and actually have the opportunity to offer additional incentives. And another one that probably is more related to the industrial side as well would be our tax grant programs, and those are all based on level of investment. So lots of tools in the toolbox. Not all tools work for all developers, but certainly we want to make sure we have all tools that are out there. We keep researching them to try to find different things that are out there to help foster economic development here within our great city.
Perfect. Thank you, Quinn. And that kind of moves over to Stefan. And obviously, we just love to see why G&T USA chose Gaston County. What kind of were those factors with that?
Yeah, no, thank you, TJ. I think it's pretty clear when you hear Don speak, there's a big reason why we're here. Economic development people really gave us some tangible deliverables. But, if you think about it, we are in the business of manufacturing natural food colors. So we're not in the business of building and running a county. So we don't think about a lot of things that Don has on its mind. And when we basically were excited that we had the opportunity to expand, we were looking for a manufacturing side in our business. You look for certain climate zones, right? So that's the first start. The United States is big. And obviously, if you grow oranges, you don't go to Alaska, right? So there are some aspects. The Charlotte area is blessed that the weather gods are good to you, so you can grow more raw materials in the area. But then you really get down to what is it that you need. And what's really impressive about Gaston County is that manufacturing is part of the fabric. It's in its DNA. And I remember on my first visit in Adamville, is when you look at the history of the mills, of the history that also FAR has, and the company FAR, and the involvement with the Christmas lights and everything. And if you think about what the textile industry has gone through, but they are there because they're innovative. Now they make fibers and yarns for the military and for the fire department. So it's in that DNA. There's a population in Gaston County of 220,000. There are 80,000 people employed, but you have 16,000 that are involved in manufacturing. And that's really great because that's what we look for. We look for people who we can employ locally who can help us in our quest to continue to grow. And then you really look for the experience because when you look at a piece of land, we think about what goes into our building. Like we're experts in manufacturing. We don't think about, we got to think about the wet land. We got to take samples of the ground. So I really think that in 30 years of experience, over 30 years of experience, that's a lot of great. Usable square footage in the last 30 years that have been involved is just really impressive. It's more profound. You rely on that experience. What I mean with tangible deliverables. Say, look, we need this piece of land, we need this kind of thing. So when you're in the food business, we supply the food business for water, for money, just much more. We supply water and also what people back to the sources that gets managed correctly. And to really have a robust electricity and supply is really important when you're in the manufacturing world. And then last is you really have to look at the concept of business parks and industrial parks. It's really great for mid-sized manufacturers. So we were really impressed by the Estonia Technology Park.
Business centers of the United States, and we are so similar.
I see a few people are joining. Thank you very much. We'll get started in about a minute to let a few people join here. Hopefully you can hear me okay without too much disturbance. I'm in the main hall here of the conference, and the main stage is also in the same within ear range here. Hopefully it's not too disturbing. I see Elena from Wolves Digital. Thank you for joining. I'm not sure if we met before at the Wolves conference before, possibly, but thank you very much for joining. I'm conscious of the fact that we have two people in the roundtable, so thank you once again for joining. We only have a half hour, so I'm thinking maybe just in the interest of time, it's best just to kick off, and then other people can join as well as they can. So why don't I kick off if that's okay with you, John?
Great.
Yeah, great. Just ask everybody to go on mute if you can, so we don't have any background noise. Thank you very much. I'm the one with some background noise here behind me, and if it's too disturbing, then please let me know. So I'll start with a few slides and then introduce myself and get started. I'm showing my screen here now.
I mentioned things that people think about. We are often known for tourism and hospitality and music and entertainment.
Can everybody see my screen here? I'll take that as a yes if I don't hear anything otherwise. So once again, my name is Chris Eichhorn. Thank you very much for the opportunity and for joining the roundtable today. The idea of the roundtable is to talk about high-tech companies, fast growth companies, and then expansion from the EU to the United States, and that's my side. And then John will take it over from expansion from the United States to EU after that. I have a presentation of about 8 minutes that I'll run through. It'll talk a little bit about our company, who we are, and what we do. And then just a quick overview of our expansion plans, and then hopefully we can find some interesting points to talk about afterward, and I'd be happy to take any questions you have at that point. So real quick, InvestSuite at a glance. Who are we? What do we do? We are an investment technology company, or Invest Tech, and we are a 3-year-old company right now. We're based in Belgium. And we also have offices in the Netherlands, Poland, UK, Spain, Denmark, Australia, as well as in Romania. So very much founded and based here in Central Eastern Europe. We have almost 60 employees now. We've raised 10 million euros altogether. We're currently in a fundraising round as well. If anybody's interested, please let me know. And we have a suite of 4 Invest Tech products that I'll quickly walk you through, just so you have an overview of our activity. To give you a little bit of our secret sauce as a company and how we operate as a fintech and as a startup, we prefer to liken ourselves to Pixar, which everybody knows and loves. Why do we do that? Because on board the company and what we do very well is we have amazing creatives, and that includes our digital marketing and design agency, basically, which we have inside the company to be able to make very engaging client experiences, and ultimately those translate into favorable business outcomes. But it's all, when we talk about wealth management, it's not all fun and games and pictures like this. It also has to be coupled with what we say here, mind-blowing technology. Our technology stack is very advanced, and that also includes mathematicians. We also have behavioral scientists on board, as well as top creative technical engineers.
Also, strong economic growth.
Our 2 flagship apps that we offer to banks, neobanks, brokers, wealth managers, and family offices are what are called the robo-advisor and the self-investor. This basically enables these financial institutions to have the same service as Betterment in the States or Robinhood. As everybody knows, these are super trendy these days. So, and a lot of banks and financial institutions are losing assets to Betterment and Robinhood as good examples. And so they would like to fight back by offering these exact services themselves to their own clients instead of losing their assets to these competitors. So these are our flagship apps that we offer. And it's interesting, we're uniquely placed in the world as a fintech, as the fintech which offers both of them. So can offer what's called a dual journey, so that any particular client can either invest their money with their robo-advisor, which invests their money for them, or they can do their own picking and choosing of which investments they would like to invest in. And this slide shows what we did for the Commercial Bank of Dubai. The Commercial Bank of Dubai launched the first robo-advisor launched by a bank in the region very recently, and we powered their robo-advisor app. Within a number of weeks, we're also going to be launching the second part of the app, which is the self-investor. So it's a dual journey app. And so it's very unique, and also puts us, as we've heard from a few prospects in the Middle East, as the talk of the town in the Middle East. So that's a great position to be in, and is getting us a lot of exposure, positive exposure in the world. Another product we have is called the Storyteller. And if anybody's familiar with what a typical bank statement or portfolio performance statement looks like, it's very, very black and white, very flat, and it is not very engaging. And what we've done is we've put together a much more colorful, much more human-based way of explaining the story of portfolio performance using colors, pictures, headlines. And long story short, it's like a personalized Wall Street Journal for your particular portfolio. It also combines AI and machine learning, and we use storytelling techniques that are used by Pixar and Disney to keep clients super engaged, and also have them really look forward to their next story as it comes out 1 quarter later, let's say. And our last product is our Portfolio Optimizer, which creates and manages portfolios for the robo-advisor. Here you can see, I gave one glimpse of, this is an example of a comparison which was done in Germany of the top 20 robo-advisors and their returns during Corona times. We plotted our own returns against this and came out on top in a few different instances. So it shows that we are very much risk-minded and also an asset management player, as well as developing certain human-based apps. So that's it about us and what we do. And I'd like to just talk for 2 minutes about our expansion from the EU to the US. And as I said, we're based in Belgium as our headquarters. In Poland, which is where I'm sitting right now, we have our CFO, business development. That's my role, administrative support, as well as front-end development here. Also in the CEE region, we have an office in Romania where we do our back-end development. And we're looking to expand into the United States this year. This is the big year for that. Last year, we built some foundations by landing our first client in the United States, as well as winning our first award, which was a great milestone for us. We've identified it's a massive market and a great opportunity, and we have signals that the products that we have are very much in demand there, especially the Storyteller initially. What are we doing as main activities to expand into the United States? We are doing market research and looking at the competition, of course. We're setting up a company and hiring our first feet on the ground, which is important to have. We're adjusting our products to the local market situation. So obviously the culture is different, the tax regime is different, and the expectation and the sophistication of the products in the local market in the States is different. So we're adjusting our products accordingly. Also, we're executing our go-to-market strategy. So simple sales, a lot of outbound reaches toward all these different market segments. And lastly, but a big pillar of our being scalable as a company, is to identify and land strategic partnerships that can help us locally. So that includes management consultants, As we know, management consultants would always like to have the latest and greatest tools in their toolkit as they give their advice to their clients. Also, core banking system providers would like to be able to switch on to their current as well as future clients great new services. And so ours are uniquely placed to be able to help them do that. And then lastly, we would like to offer end-to-end services. So not only the app, but then also the execution of the trades, which we recommend. So broker and custodian connections. And I would say that we're already integrated with Fidelity, so we can get information from Fidelity about anybody's account, a brokerage account, which is there, and pull it into the Storyteller, for example. So that's an overview of what we do and where we're headed in the States. And I'd be happy to now turn it over to John for his story, and then we'll come back and open it up for questions after that for both of us. Thank you
Chris,
very much
I hope
for listening.
that,
And John, I hand it over to you. I'll stop sharing here.
1 second. I thought that we were going to also discuss ActiveGraf, which is why I'm here.
Sure. Thank you very much. Okay. So I've stopped sharing, John. The floor is yours. Thank you very much.
Chris, yes, thank you. Can you mute your microphone? There's a lot of background noise that's loud. Laszlo, I'd like you to go ahead and say what you wanted to say so I can be thoughtful about your comments.
Thank you, John. I was also invited as a presenter here, so I don't know how much time we have, but I was ready and prepared to talk about ActiveGraf as well.
About
ActiveGraf, my company.
Chris, can you mute your microphone, please? Thank you. Go ahead, Laszlo. I couldn't hear over that noise.
So my company, ActiveGraf, is also presenting. So it's after you're done, John, I'd just like to present. I don't know how much time we have, but
why don't you go ahead, Laszlo? I'll respond to both of you when you're done.
Oh, all right. Very kind. Thank you. Let me just get right into it then. Quick intro about ActiveGraf. We are visual scenario modeling and presentation software, and we are essentially, we make it possible for anybody who's presenting, whether it be a client-facing professional or a decision maker, to immediately see the results of any what-if scenario. So I was going to just show you how ActiveGraf works very briefly and talk about what we do. Is that all right, John, or would you like to go ahead?
Go for it. No, go for it.
Okay. I'm going to share my screen now. Let me do that. I'm trying to do that, and let me do it this way. There we go. So my background is that I'm a banker, and I was a managing director at Citigroup, and always was faced with the idea that you go into a presentation and you have a big deck and you talk to your clients, or you're talking to your strategic partners inside the bank about what you're doing. And invariably the question would come up, yeah, but what if the assumptions are different? What if interest rates are different? What if oil price moves? And essentially what would have to happen is everybody comes down and gets all the assumptions together, breaks the momentum of the meeting. You hand it to your analysts, and you walk through this entire process, which could take days, weeks, months, and then at the end of the day, come back and waste a lot of time and energy. And what ActiveGraf does is it allows you to do 50 times the iterations very quickly, and allows anyone to iterate even the most complex quant. And let's take a look at that, how that works. So here we have in front of us a typical dashboard. It looks like a dashboard that anybody who's been in banking or has been in a corporation looking at kind of EBIT drivers and what their CapEx and loan amounts are going to be has faced. So in the top left, we can see the CapEx and new loan amounts. And sorry for any background noise here. Then you can see the funding rates, the debt to EBITDA covenant levels, EBIT drivers such as sales year-on-year growth, raw materials growth, and working capital days. And at the end of the day, on the right-hand side, you have the results. And on the results, you see a disaggregation of what the credit rating would be for that company. And this is also a strategic dialogue that many people have. with their banks to look at how they stack up as an entity. And on the bottom right is very important, how much financial flexibility and what implied rating they have. So this is just one case, and ActiveGraf can be layered onto any spreadsheet or existing PowerPoints and Excels. It doesn't have to be template driven. But what's cool about it is this: I can go in and change my assumptions and immediately see the results live. So if I go here and I say, well, we actually think that year-on-year sales growth in 2022 is going to take a boost because of what we're seeing in the market, and I can automatically embedded filter it out to year-on-year sales growth and go, well, it'll be more like 4.5. And you can see that immediately the rating of the company and the future of the company and its financial flexibility are updated. Now, I'm right within an existing PowerPoint. This is not a new thing. We're not just a widget. It is actually a full application, but it gets powered. The front end of it is powered through PowerPoint because that's what everybody uses, PowerPoint and Excel. And these charts are as easy or easier than Excel charts to put together. So you can do very powerful analysis. And that was basically the brief demo I wanted to give, is to say that anybody can just say, well, I don't think our receivables days or inventory should be 45. It should be, let's say, 35 days. What would that do to our cash flow? And you can immediately see that it goes to the Excel, iterates, and comes back lightning quick. And that makes it very easy to make data-driven decisions. That is what ActiveGraf does. And as a company, we've been around for actively about 3 years. We've raised about $2 million. We've landed with one of the most prestigious management consulting firms in the world, and also one major European bank. And we are kind of in our expansion go-to-market phase, and talking to very many consultants, IT companies, banks, and strategic decision-making folks about applying our technology, which, as you can see, saves a lot of time and gives great insights. So that is essentially how to think about ActiveGraf. And again, the problem we solve is, many people have said, we'll take these updated assumptions and then we'll have our analysts run them again. And then a lot of time goes by, the momentum is lost. You have to reconvene a bunch of expensive people to make a decision. And with ActiveGraf, you can immediately see the results of any what-if scenario. So that's basically ActiveGraf. Our roots are in Central Europe. I was, as I said, managing director at Citigroup when I invented the software, and when I first started thinking about it and used it on the restructuring of a bank in Europe. Our development and operations are in Hungary. I am in Charlotte, North Carolina, on the shores right now of Lake Norman at our sailing club. So we are enjoying it very much in Charlotte. It's a fantastic place to do business and gain traction, and talking to a lot of the financial community here. And in the interest of time, I will just kind of stop right there, and then happy to answer any questions about our technology, our company, about Charlotte, which is a great place to do business, about Hungary, which is a great place to have development resources. And I'll leave it at that. John, over to you.
Okay, I'll pick it up from there and tell you that I am executive director of the Carolina World Trade Association. So Laszlo will have to find a way to meet face-to-face one of these days. Lake Norman's a beautiful place. This organization was actually started in 1964, and it has predominantly been a networking group of people who are engaged in international trade. But the mission is to help companies be successful in the arena of national trade. And we do that by focusing in three ways. We advocate for those businesses with local, state, and federal government, trying to improve the environment and the assets supporting international trade. We do that with education by training employees of employers about the intricacies, the complexities of international trade. It is not just like doing business in the United States, and there's a lot to learn in that world. We do that in partnership with the Association of Small Business Development and Technology Centers, and a group called NASBITE, the National Association of Small Business International Trade Educators. And then third from that, we focus on the kinds of networking, but celebrating the success of international trade companies, recognizing them, highlighting them, providing platforms for them to educate others about those opportunities, and looking for ways to expand that. We are having our first face-to-face meeting since the pandemic on July 15th. And we'd love to have you attend, Laszlo, if that's something you might be interested in. But our focus in the Carolinas is to let people know that the Charlotte region and the Carolinas is an incredible gateway for international trade. It's positioned midway along the East Coast between New York City and Miami. It has access to 6 major ports out of Charlotte, from Jacksonville to Savannah, to Brunswick, to Charleston, to Wilmington, and to Norfolk, Virginia, so that any shipper here has an opportunity to ship his or her products anywhere in the world, and do it with a platform where they can find a competitive price instead of just paying the normal fare. We also have an international airport that happens to be the 6th busiest airport in the world, unique for a city of our size. But we also have the network of highways and railroads that support distribution to American consumers. It's important to know that Charlotte can serve domestic companies that want to do business around the globe, and foreign-owned entities that would like to do business within the United States. This airport supports direct connections to many of the major cities and states across the country. I've got a full presentation on this that I won't bore you with, but we are looking forward to opportunities to make greater connections, explore opportunities, and expand the success. U.S. GDP, international trade in the United States, is only about 16% of GDP, whereas in Germany, it's almost 50% of GDP. U.S. companies have a lot to learn about doing business overseas, and it's important for us to learn in every way we can. So that sums up my presentation. I appreciate your listening. I'm grateful to know about both InvestSuite and ActiveGraf. I'd like to learn more about both of them. I'm going to give you my contact information. My email is john.galles, Galles, john.galles, Galles, at cwta.org, Carolina World Trade Association, the acronym cwta.org. And I'd be happy to connect with both of you so that when I encounter companies that might benefit from your services, I'd be happy to share those.
That'd be great, John. We've met at the City Club where I'm a member, and also I was an ambassador member at the World Affairs Council when I first got here, but not lately. So I think we've met before. We're linked on LinkedIn. So we will talk. I'm also a member of the Big Thinkers and International Thinkers roundtables and stuff like that with those guys, Feroz and Mike Hawley and all those.
Pardon me for not recognizing that.
No. Oh, that's all right. We only met once or twice, so
I'm glad
that's
to
great.
know.
Yeah, that'd be very good. Well,
Chris,
thank you, gentlemen.
And I send my thanks as well, John, and I'll definitely contact you. And it's a pleasure to hear about your solution, Laszlo. That's really cool.
It is.
Thank you. I'd love to talk to you, Chris, and give you a demo and see what you guys are doing too, because at least from a referral perspective, we are speaking to a lot of financial institutions. There's nothing else like us. And so I firmly believe in paying it forward and kind of helping out. So if we're talking to financial institutions and contacts about what we're doing and you're doing the same and we cross-refer, I think that'd be a win-win.
Absolutely. Yeah, we're also in that no competition space for a few of our products like the Storyteller. So that's it. They're in different spectrums, of course, but there have to be synergies, as you mentioned. Love it.
Awesome.
Thanks for that.
All right, guys.
For sure. And
Very
maybe it's good to open it up to the rest of the people who have joined. If there are any questions for any of us or all of us, if we still have time, just a quick time check there. Yeah, I think we do. Feel free to shoot. If not, John, I can let you know that my father lives in Pinehurst. He's a golfer now, so the region is close to my heart. I absolutely love it.
That's about as close to heaven as you can get in North Carolina.
Yeah, it's true.
Unless you're next to Lake Norman.
Well, we are at the Lake Norman Yacht Club, which sounds glorious, but it's actually more like a campground with sailboats. So it's not a hoity-toity place, but we are, my wife and I and another couple are actually running sailing camp this week. That's why I'm up here, and you can see the kids learning how to sail right now, right out there. Yeah. And it is a fantastic place to do business as well as live. It's fantastic, really is. All right, gentlemen, very nice to meet you both. And let's stay in touch. And if there's anybody among the attendees, there's only a few people here, but
sure,
happy to. I think Wolf Summit or not? Yeah, Wolf Summit has our contact details. We can get in touch.
Yeah, indeed. Then I'll sign off as well. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure meeting both of you and everybody today.
Take care.
Take care. Yeah.
Bye-bye.